These 2 hours, the presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
What if the person closest to Princess Diana also unknowingly set her on a tragic path? Lady Sarah McCorquodale, Diana's older sister, has just opened up, revealing truths that could change everything we thought we knew. Lady Sarah was not only Diana's best friend, but also the key figure who unknowingly led Diana toward heartbreak. At age 60, Sarah is finally breaking her silence on the shocking rumors that surrounded her famous sister. The start of Lady Sarah's journey. Lady Sarah Spencer's life was full of ups and downs. She was given the title The Honorable after her father became the 8th Earl Spencer in 1975. She soon adopted the title Lady. Many people assumed that Lady Sarah had an easy life because of her aristocratic background. But that was far from true. She had many challenges, including a tough battle with eating disorders during her young adult years. This struggle took a toll on her social life and was very hard for her to overcome. Let's go back to where it all began. Lady Sarah went to Riddlesworth Hall and West Heath boarding school for her education. After that, she chose to start her career in London. This choice might seem surprising, but her life was more ordinary than many would expect for someone of her status. By aristocratic standards, she was quite down to earth. But one thing made her well known: her connection to Diana, Princess of Wales. This relationship made her a target for those looking to find faults in Diana's life. Sarah and Diana shared a very close bond, which made her a key figure in Diana's life. This closeness made her a target for criticism and unwanted attention. But Sarah remained loyal and strong. She was a true friend and ally to Diana, even if it meant going against the royal family. Her loyalty and support showed just how deep their sisterly connection was. When Diana's marriage hit its roughest points, Lady Sarah was her biggest supporter. She gave Diana the courage to keep going and stand up for herself. In a way, Sarah was like Diana's knight, helping her face the challenges with Prince Charles. Her motivation and encouragement kept Diana strong and focused on her royal duties. Sarah was always there for Diana, offering support and advice whenever needed. Her loyalty never wavered, even when wild rumors spread about Diana. Sarah stood by her side during those tough times, and even after Diana's tragic death. She has since worked hard to protect and continue Diana's legacy. Lady Sarah's life is full of stories worth telling. She was a big part of Diana's journey, and some even believe her support played a role in the events leading up to Diana's untimely death. Sarah's life took interesting turns, including her relationship with Neil McCorquodale, who became her husband and the love of her life. But before marrying him, Sarah had her own royal story. Did you know she almost became Queen of England? Yes, before Diana, Lady Sarah dated Prince Charles. Their relationship, however, did not last long. Their breakup was big news at the time. Sarah made headlines when she said she wouldn't marry Charles, whether he was a dustman or the King of England. This bold statement ended their romance and left a lasting mark on royal history. At 60, Sarah shared stories of her past, including her role as Diana's closest ally and her own almost queen moment. Even though her relationship had ended with him due to a twist of fate, she always remained in the inner circle of Charles's social circle, and it was in the craziest way possible. After her breakup with Charles, she became a bridge that ended up introducing her younger sister Diana to the prince. And no one knew that this introduction would change the life of Diana and the royal family forever. Diana's early life and struggles. Before we dive into one of England's biggest mysteries, let's talk a bit about Princess Diana so you can understand her better. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961. She was the fourth of 5 children in the Spencer family. Diana grew up at Park House in Sandringham, Norfolk. It was there that her life would take a turn and connect her to the royal family. Her grandmother was a lady-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Because of this, Diana played with Prince Andrew and Prince Edward when the royal family visited Sandringham. Even though Diana came from a respected household, her childhood was not easy. Her parents had a troubled marriage filled with arguments. The main issue was the pressure on her mother to have a son, which was something out of her control. After years of tension and blame, Diana's parents divorced when she was just 7 years old. She stayed with her father, who later became Earl Spencer. But life with her stepmother, Reine, Countess of Dartmouth, was tough. Their relationship was strained and felt like a real-life Cinderella story. Despite the tension, they had to find a way to live under the same roof. The start of Diana's love story. So, when did Diana's life start taking a turn for the worse? It all began when her sister introduced her to Prince Charles in 1977. Diana was just 16, and Charles was 12 years older than her. Despite the age gap, Charles found Diana charming, and soon they started seeing each other. That's when things began to shift. In 1981, the world watched as Diana and Charles got married. Suddenly, Diana went from being a young, low-profile aristocrat to one of the most famous people in the world. Was this a dream come true, or the beginning of a difficult journey? Let's find out. Here's an interesting fact. Before Diana, Charles had dated her older sister. After their split, Charles was drawn to Diana's innocence and sweetness. He thought she was harmless and wouldn't cause him any trouble. Diana, on the other hand, saw Charles as her perfect prince, the hero who would always be there for her. It's ironic, isn't it? Looking back, they probably would have warned their younger selves about what was coming. But maybe it was all meant to be that way, part of a bigger plan set by fate. Their first meeting was brief, and Diana later said she was not too impressed with Charles, who seemed a bit sad. On the outside, it looked simple, but inside, there were feelings stirring. Charles had just been through a breakup with Diana's sister and was mourning the loss of his mentor, Lord Mountbatten. Diana's kind and understanding nature caught Charles's attention. Their bond began to grow slowly. One day at a barbecue, while they were talking, Charles suddenly leaned in and kissed her. This moment marked the start of their very public and famous relationship. Even though they didn't spend much time together, their relationship moved fast. Charles had a packed schedule, but he still made time for Diana. After just 13 meetings, he proposed to her. Diana, after giving it some thought, said yes to what she believed was her dream. The proposal happened before she left for a trip to Australia, giving her some space to think it over. Diana was thrilled to be joining the royal family, not knowing what challenges lay ahead. In 1981, their engagement was made public. People loved Diana. She was young, beautiful, and seemed like the perfect match for a future king. It seemed like a fairy tale. But soon after, cracks started to show in their relationship, hinting that the reality would not be as perfect as the world believed. The first sign of trouble. During their engagement interview, a reporter asked them about their feelings. Diana confidently said they were in love. Charles, on the other hand, gave a vague response saying, "Whatever love means." This left Diana puzzled and hinted at the challenges that lay ahead. Prince Charles and Lady Diana married on July 29, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral. It was a grand event, watched by 750 million people around the world. Diana's wedding dress, designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel, instantly became legendary. Its 25-foot train and detailed lacework captured the hearts of millions. People were captivated by this fairy tale of a prince and his princess. They couldn't imagine anything going wrong with their perfect love story. However, behind the scenes, whispers began about Lady Sarah's feelings. Sarah, who had dated Charles before Diana, claimed she played matchmaker for the couple and supported them publicly. But some rumors suggested that Sarah might have felt jealousy and hurt. Despite any personal feelings, Sarah chose to stay in the background. She decided to lead a quieter life, so her sister Diana could shine and live more peacefully. It was a sacrifice Sarah made out of love for her sister. Diana's rise as a humanitarian. When Diana became a member of the royal family, she showed how much change was possible. Once an ordinary aristocrat, she used her new status to make a difference. This turned her into a global symbol of kindness and compassion. People remember Princess Diana for her philanthropy and humanitarian work. She focused on important causes like HIV/AIDS, leprosy, and banning landmines. Her efforts made her loved by the public, but they also upset some powerful people. When Diana became comfortable with her royal duties, she tackled the stigma around AIDS first. In the 1980s, people with AIDS were often feared and pushed aside by society. There were many wrong beliefs about the disease and those who had it. Diana did something simple but brave in 1987. She touched AIDS patients. This act made headlines around the world. It showed that AIDS could not be spread by touch and encouraged people to show kindness and support to those affected. Diana became the patron of the National AIDS Trust and often visited the London Lighthouse, a place that cared for HIV/AIDS patients. Her actions changed how the world viewed the disease and brought hope to many. Diana's efforts gained her global respect. In 1997, she met Nelson Mandela to discuss ways to help children and families affected by HIV/AIDS. This meeting showed how much her work was valued around the world. One reason people still love Diana is her work with the British Red Cross and the Halo Trust. She helped raise awareness about landmines and their dangers. In 1997, she visited a minefield in Angola and walked through it with protective gear. This brave act brought attention to the harm landmines cause and played a role in the Ottawa Treaty, which banned their use. Diana also worked hard to fight the stigma around leprosy. She became the patron of the Leprosy Mission in 1989 and visited hospitals around the world. She supported patients by touching them, showing that they deserved kindness and care. This small action made a huge impact, helping people see leprosy in a new light and reducing fear around it. When Diana felt tired or discouraged, her sister, Lady Sarah, reminded her of her strength and pushed her to keep going. Sarah's support gave Diana the confidence to continue her mission. Diana also turned her focus to cancer. She supported cancer research and worked with many charities, like Children with Cancer UK, and helped start important initiatives. As president of the Royal Marsden NHS Foundation Trust, she showed her commitment to helping sick children. People saw her dedication and admired her even more for it. The revelation of Charles's affair. Diana was deeply committed to helping others and making the world a better place. You would think someone so kind would be treated with kindness in return, right? Unfortunately, life wasn't so fair to her. Prince Charles gave her an unexpected and painful surprise. Rumors started about an affair between Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles. They tried to keep it quiet, but soon it became an open secret among their friends and then the public. Diana was crushed. She felt lost and didn't know what to do. She turned to her sister, Sarah, who became her support. Sarah comforted her and helped her find her strength. She prepared Diana for the hardest battle she would face in her personal life. The Camillagate scandal. What was that? And how did she deal with it? Let's find out. It all began to get messed up in 1993 when a leaked phone call from 1989 between Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles exposed their intimate relationship. This was the start of the scandal that would later be known as Camillagate or Tampongate. The call became popular because of a disrespectful comment Prince Charles made about wanting to live inside Camilla's trousers. This was very unbecoming of a royal member and damaged his reputation severely. After a lot of pressure, Charles admitted in a televised interview with Jonathan Dimbleby that he had been unfaithful to Princess Diana once their marriage had irreparably broken down in 1994. Even though he did not mention Camilla by name, his implications narrowed the cause down conveniently. This confession destroyed his image even further when Princess Diana said the most iconic line during her 1995 BBC interview, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This aggressive statement showed that she was done playing around. She was not scared of the royals. She was not Princess Diana because she was married to Charles. She was the princess because it was the title the public gave her. During this time, the public sided with Diana. They admired her grace, kindness, and work for others. She was seen as a fighter, standing tall against the royal family's drama. But when things became too difficult, the Queen intervened. In 1992, Diana and Charles separated. By 1996, their divorce was final. Diana lost her title of Your Royal Highness, but in return, she gained freedom and peace of mind. It was a fair trade. Diana turned her focus to raising her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. She and Charles agreed to co-parent, sharing the responsibilities of raising their boys. Life seemed to be looking up for Diana. She was away from the strict rules of royal life and was finally starting to live on her own terms. But just when things felt stable, tragedy struck. It was sudden and heartbreaking, bringing the entire world to tears. Diana's final love and the tragic accident. Diana wanted to relax and enjoy life, so she accepted a vacation invitation from a friend. This getaway was on a cruise, and during the trip, she met Dodi Fayed, her friend's son. There was an instant connection between them. They soon grew close and started a romantic relationship. The public had only just begun to see them together when everything changed in a heartbeat. On August 31st, 1997, tragedy struck in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Diana and Dodi were in a car driven by Henri Paul. The car sped through the tunnel as paparazzi chased them, trying to get pictures. Henri Paul lost control, and the car crashed into a pillar. The accident was devastating. Henri Paul and Dodi Fayed died on impact. Diana was critically injured but still alive when rescuers arrived. Despite efforts to save her, she succumbed to her injuries and passed away at 6 a.m. the next morning. The news of her death sent shockwaves across the world, and people mourned deeply for the beloved princess. Diana's sudden death stunned the entire world. Prince Charles, along with Diana's sisters, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Jane Fellows, flew to Paris to bring her body back to England. The nation and people everywhere were heartbroken. When her funeral was held, it was watched by millions. Lady Sarah gave a heartfelt goodbye speech that moved everyone to tears. It marked the end of Diana's incredible and tragic story. Even after her funeral, questions and mysteries about that night remained. Many people were angry that certain details were not fully explained. One of the most widely believed theories is that the paparazzi chasing Diana's car played a bigger role in the crash than reported. Witnesses said the photographers were relentless, flashing their cameras and driving closely behind. Some people believe the aggressive behavior of the paparazzi was not just for photos, but part of a larger plot. The official report said Henri Paul, the driver, was drunk when the accident happened. However, some conspiracy theorists argue that the toxicology results were tampered with. Friends and colleagues claimed Henri Paul did not drink heavily. This led to suspicions that he may have been set up and that the report was a way to shift blame. People have questioned why there is no CCTV footage from the tunnel on the night of the crash. The Pont de l'Alma tunnel was known to have security cameras, yet none of them captured the accident. This raised suspicions that the footage may have been removed or altered to hide what really happened. Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, has long claimed that the crash was not an accident, but a planned event. He believes that Diana and Dodi were killed because they were planning to get married, which, in his view, would have been unacceptable to the British royal family. He also claimed that Diana was pregnant, a claim that has not been proven. A letter that Diana wrote to her butler, Paul Burrell, surfaced after her death. In it, she expressed fears that someone was planning to harm her. Diana wrote that she felt she might be killed in a car accident. This letter fueled the belief that she might have known something was being plotted against her. Some theories suggest that British intelligence, MI6, was involved in orchestrating the crash. Proponents of this theory argue that Diana's humanitarian work and criticism of landmines angered influential figures who saw her as a threat. They claim that her growing popularity and possible marriage to Dodi Fayed might have been politically inconvenient for the monarchy and the government. Trevor Rees-Jones, Dodi's bodyguard, was the only survivor of the crash. However, he said he couldn't remember anything about what happened due to severe injuries. This led some to suspect that his memory loss wasn't natural and that he might have been silenced or manipulated to cover up details. Reports have suggested that Henri Paul, the driver, was linked to French and British intelligence agencies. This raised questions about whether he was acting under orders that night or if he was part of a larger scheme. People have also questioned the delay in getting Diana to the hospital. The ambulance reportedly took over an hour to reach the hospital, despite the distance being relatively short. Some believe this delay might have been intentional, giving rise to theories that more could have been done to save her life. The royal family's response after Diana's death was seen as cold and distant, adding fuel to the conspiracy theories. Their reluctance to issue a public statement or show emotion immediately after the tragedy led some to believe they were hiding something. Each of these theories has been examined and discussed by investigators, journalists, and the public for years. The official inquiries, including a major investigation in 2004 called Operation Paget, found no evidence of foul play and concluded that the crash was an accident caused by Henri Paul's reckless driving under the influence. However, for many, the unanswered questions and strange details continue to keep these theories alive. Diana's death left a void, but it also fueled ongoing debates and suspicions about what led to that tragic crash. Even years later, people continue to search for the truth about that fateful night in Paris.